Peace be upon you, and welcome to a new episode. On New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2018, while everyone was celebrating, inside an ordinary residential tower in the Saka area, in Omar ibn al-Khattab Tower, number 4, something horrific happened inside an apartment that looked just like any other. The next day, January 1st, 2019, while the whole world was happy with the new year, in that building, there was the sound of loud screaming. Neighbors gathered. The doorman rushed upstairs. They opened the door and saw a scene beyond description. 4 bodies lying in blood, a mother and her 3 children. The wife, Mona Fati El-Sogini, in her mid-30s, was found in the living room, blood covering the floor. Beside her was her little daughter Layla, only 4 years old, dead in her mother's arms. In another room, the 2 boys, Abdullah, 10 years old, and Omar, 7 years old, were found lying on their beds, dead while they were sleeping, as if they hadn't felt a thing. Who could have done this? Was it robbery, revenge, or some devil that appeared from where no one knows? The police arrived quickly and the investigation began, but the mystery was overwhelming. The door was intact, there were no signs of forced entry, yet gold had been stolen from the wardrobe. As if the thief knew exactly where it was. Neighbors said the family was ordinary, but their quarrels were often heard. What happened? And who was behind this disaster? Stay with me, because we'll see how jealousy and hatred can destroy a person and turn a family's life into hell. And before we start our story, don't forget to like and share the episode so it can reach as many people as possible. And if you're someone who enjoys Indian crime stories, subscribe to the other channel to get all the updates. You'll find the link in the description box. Without further delay, let's dive into the depths of our story. This story, my friends, didn't actually begin on that fateful night. No, it goes back many years earlier, specifically to 2008. In Kafr el-Sheikh, there was a young man named Ahmed Abdallah Zaki, a newly graduated doctor from the Faculty of Medicine at Tanta University. He was ambitious, dreaming of continuing his higher studies and earning a PhD. His family was very respectable, financially modest, but deeply invested in education. Ahmed's family was constantly pressuring him. Ahmed, get married. We're worried about you. You're too focused on studying. You need to build your personal life. We want to see our grandchildren. At first, Ahmed hesitated. He believed marriage would slow him down and distract him from his academic dreams. But after ongoing pressure from his parents and siblings, he finally gave in. They decided to find him a suitable bride. They chose a young woman from a respectable family in Kafr el-Sheikh named Mona Fati El-Sogini. Mona was a medical lab doctor, just like Ahmed, and a graduate of the Faculty of Medicine. Her family, like Ahmed's, was modest but well-regarded, known for their good morals and education. Everyone praised her reputation, a calm, smart, ambitious girl. The marriage was arranged in the traditional way, a formal meeting between families. Since both sides were on the same educational and social level, both doctors with similar backgrounds, the families quickly agreed. In 2009, the marriage took place. Ahmed and Mona started their life together in a small apartment in Kafr el-Sheikh. At first, everything looked perfect, like something out of a movie. 2 doctors, admired in their community, building what seemed to be a stable family life. Mona worked at a private medical lab, while Ahmed took a job at a government health unit in the Saka area. People saw them as an ideal couple, but behind closed doors, the reality was different. Mona, with her ambitious nature, began to notice something troubling. Ahmed lacked the same drive. He was content with his government job, not striving to advance or open a private clinic like many of his peers. On top of that, his family interfered excessively in their personal life, telling Mona how to run the house, how to manage the expenses. And this bothered her deeply. Mona, being wise, tried to absorb these conflicts and keep the peace, but tension started to grow between them. Whenever she tried to talk to Ahmed about his ambitions or their future plans, he would avoid the conversation or shut it down. What began as small disagreements slowly grew bigger. In 2010, a year into their marriage, Mona and Ahmed had their first child, Abdullah. With that, responsibilities increased. Expenses grew heavier, and Ahmed started feeling financial pressure, as his salary from the health unit wasn't enough. Mona tried to help by working extra hours at the lab and managing the household carefully. But at the same time, she noticed Ahmed growing jealous of her success. She was excelling in her work, receiving praise from colleagues, and shining more and more, while Ahmed seemed stuck in place. Then in 2011, a golden opportunity came along. Ahmed was offered a job in Saudi Arabia at a major hospital. This chance could change their lives, increase their income, and help Ahmed pursue his postgraduate studies. Mona encouraged him strongly, and they decided to move together, taking little Abdullah with them. In Saudi Arabia, around 2011, life started to take a new shape. Ahmed worked in the hospital, and Mona, who was always thinking about the future, decided not to just stay at home. She got a job at a medical analysis lab, and in the afternoon she gave private lessons in science and chemistry to students in order to increase the family income. Mona was remarkably successful. Her colleagues at the lab respected her, and the students loved her teaching style. Her income started to grow, and in a short time, it became higher than Ahmed's. That's when jealousy started to clearly appear. Ahmed felt that she had become better than him, and he belittled her achievements, telling her, "That's not an accomplishment. You're nothing." Mona ignored his words and kept moving forward, but their disputes increased. He accused her of caring more about herself and her work than about him, and of not treating him as a husband. His family would also call from Egypt, telling her, "You need to take care of Ahmed more. You're only thinking about your job." Mona tried to balance things, but the tension kept growing. In 2013, they had their second child, Omar, which added even more responsibilities. Ahmed was a very loving father with his kids, as seen in the photos and videos he took with Abdullah and Omar. He laughed with them, played with them, and took them on small outings. But with Mona, the relationship was deteriorating. His jealousy of her career success, along with his family's interference, turned their disagreements into daily fights. Mona tried to stay strong, but she felt that Ahmed always felt inferior next to her. In 2014, he decided that Mona had to return to Egypt with the kids. He told her, "At this young age, they need to grow up in their country, among their relatives. Education in Egypt is better for them now." As usual, Mona agreed in order to avoid problems, even though she had been successful in her job in Saudi Arabia. She went back with Abdullah and Omar to Kafr el-Sheikh and settled there in a rented apartment. In 2015, a year after Mona's return, Ahmed decided to come back to Egypt as well and settle with his family. During that time, they had their daughter, Lila, around 2014 or 2015, completing the family. Ahmed and Mona with their 3 children, Abdullah, Omar, and Lila. As always, Mona refused to just stay at home. She got a job at a private medical lab in Kafr el-Sheikh to help with the household expenses. Ahmed worked at the government health unit in Saka, but he was still the same. He had no ambition to increase his income. He was content with routine, not thinking about opening a private clinic or developing himself. On the other hand, Mona continued to shine. The lab relied heavily on her, and her colleagues respected her. Her income greatly supported the family, but that only fueled Ahmed's jealousy. In 2016, they managed to buy an apartment in Omar ibn al-Khattab Tower, building number 4 in Saka, and moved their lives there. The apartment was a dream for them, but life inside it was far from a dream. The marriage between Ahmed and Mona, everyone, was full of tensions from the very first day. But with time, jealousy started to appear. Ahmed felt that Mona was better than him, especially in Saudi Arabia, when her income became higher than his. The conflicts were also fueled by his family's interference, making Mona feel like she was always falling short in their eyes. Then, in June 2018, about 6 months before the crime, Ahmed saw a screenshot on Mona's phone, a WhatsApp conversation with another man. That made him believe she had an old love affair. He started accusing her of betrayal, telling her, "I saw the messages, you're cheating on me." Mona denied it, telling him, "These are normal conversations, there's nothing like what you think." But that suspicion was like poison. It started eating Ahmed from the inside. Later investigations proved there was no solid evidence of infidelity, but that doubt only increased his resentment. The arguments turned into daily fights. Neighbors in the tower often heard them shouting, especially when he accused her of caring more about her work and herself than about him. Mona tried to hold the family together, but the relationship had become toxic. Ahmed still loved his children, but with Mona, each day only made him hate her more, until he reached a breaking point. In August 2018, Ahmed decided he had to get rid of Mona. The motive? Jealousy over her success and suspicion of her supposed affair from those messages, even though it was an illusion. He decided to kill her before the new year began, setting New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2018, as the deadline to execute his plan. Over the 4 months from August to December, he coldly plotted, like preparing for a complex surgery. He thought of every detail. How would he kill her without leaving evidence? How would he prove he wasn't at home? How would he make the crime look like a burglary? On December 27, 2018, he bought gloves from Cairo to avoid leaving fingerprints. He also bought strong duct tape, a sturdy curtain rope, and a sharp knife from a household goods shop. He hid these items in the bedroom closet, away from Mona and the children's eyes. The plan was precise. He would convince Mona to play a sadistic sexual game, tying her hands and feet with the tape so she couldn't resist, then strangle her with the rope, and finally slit her throat with the knife to make sure she was dead. After that, he would kill the children if they saw, leaving no witnesses. He'd steal the gold from the wardrobe, scatter things around, and dump the evidence, knife, rope, gloves, clothes, in a faraway place. To establish an alibi, he would go to public places, a bank, a seafood restaurant, making transactions so security cameras recorded his presence. He even called his colleague, Dr. Isra, at the health unit in Saka on December 30th, 2018 3 times, telling her, "I want to take tomorrow off, but I don't want the day deducted. Can you sign me in?" She agreed and signed his attendance. Coincidentally, on December 27th, 2018, 4 days before the crime, they were invited to lunch at Mona's father's house. Mona's brother, who was getting married in 10 days, was there, talking about carpentry issues in his new apartment. He said he needed a carpenter to finish the work quickly. Ahmed paid close attention to that, and he saw an opportunity to adjust his plan. He told him, "Don't worry, I know a good carpenter. I'll bring him to you on New Year's Eve." The idea was to go with the carpenter to Mona's brother's house at the time of the crime, so he'd have a witness that he wasn't home. If the carpenter didn't come, He would stick to the original plan: bank, seafood restaurant, and public alibis. He thought of everything, even how he would scream and cry when he returned home to appear shocked. The cursed day came, December 31st, 2018. In the morning, Ahmed told Mona, "I'm not going to work today. I'll stay with you and the kids so we can spend a nice day together." Mona was overjoyed. She prepared breakfast while the kids, Abdullah, Omar, and Lila, played happily around the house. After breakfast, around 9 a.m., Ahmed went into the bedroom, opened the closet, and pulled out the gloves, rope, duct tape, and knife. He hid them under his jacket. He went back to Mona in the living room and told her, "What do you think if we try something new today? A fun sexual game. It'll bring us closer together." Mona, who trusted him completely, agreed without suspicion. He told her, "I'll tie your hands and legs with the tape. Don't worry, it's just a game." Mona laughed and agreed. He wrapped the tape around her hands and legs, pretending to joke around. But suddenly, he pulled out the rope, wrapped it around her neck, and pulled hard. Mona tried to resist, staring at him with terrified eyes, gasping for breath. But he tightened his grip until she lost consciousness. Then, wearing the gloves, he fetched the knife from the kitchen, dragged her into the living room, and slit her throat with a deep cut. Blood covered the floor. At that very moment, Layla, only 4 years old, walked out of her room. She saw her mother lying in a pool of blood and started screaming and crying. Ahmed rushed to her, hugged her tightly as if to comfort her, but then pulled out the knife and slaughtered her too, leaving her beside her mother. He sat for a few moments on a chair in the living room, thinking coldly, if the boys see their mother and sister like this, what will they do? They can't live without her, and worse, they might expose me. He decided to kill them as well. He entered the boys' room. Abdullah was awake, terrified, begging, "Dad, please don't." But Ahmed strangled him with the rope, then slit his throat. Omar was still asleep, so Ahmed killed him instantly, leaving his small body on the bed. The room was drenched in blood, on the floor, on the walls, everywhere. Afterwards, with chilling composure, Ahmed changed his clothes, opened the closet, and scattered its contents to make it look like a robbery. He took the gold, placed it in a large plastic bag along with the blood-stained clothes, the knife, the rope, and the gloves. He locked the apartment, went downstairs, got in his car, and drove to a remote spot on a rural road where he buried the bag among thick plants. Then he called the carpenter to accompany him to Mona's brother's house, but the carpenter replied, "I'm busy today. I'll come tomorrow." So Ahmed went back to his original alibi plan. He went to a bank in downtown Kafr el-Sheikh, took a number, made a small financial transaction, and the cameras recorded him. After that, he went to a nearby fish restaurant, ordered a large amount of fish, paid for it, and told them, "Deliver it to my apartment at lunchtime." Around 1 p.m., he returned home. On his way up, he deliberately greeted the building doorman. "How are you?" "What's new?" So the doorman would remember seeing him arrive from outside. When he opened the apartment door, he suddenly began screaming, "My wife! My kids! Somebody robbed the house!" Neighbors rushed upstairs, and the doorman too. They witnessed the horrifying scene. Mona and Layla in the living room, and Abdullah and Omar in their room, blood everywhere. Ahmed was crying and screaming, but the neighbors felt he was acting. His collapse didn't match the scale of the tragedy. He kept saying, "The gold is gone. Look at the closet. It's ransacked. Someone broke in and killed them." He quickly called his mother, his uncle, his brother, and Mona's mother, crying over the phone, "Help me, Mom! Mona's been murdered." Mona's family, who were in a state of shock, arrived at the apartment and collapsed when they saw their daughter and grandchildren. They called the police, who quickly arrived on January 1, 2019, under the supervision of the head of Kafr el-Sheikh investigations and his team. They began the inspection. The first observation was that the door was intact, no signs of forced entry or violence, meaning the killer either used a key or was already inside. Secondly, the robbery seemed unnatural. The gold was taken from the closet without much mess, as if the thief knew exactly where it was. Thirdly, the bodies were arranged in a strange way. Mona and Layla in the living room, Abdullah and Omar in their room. Blood was everywhere, but there were no major signs of resistance except with Mona. The police noticed that Ahmed was devastated, but his breakdown felt unnatural. He was too focused on the details of the alleged robbery. When they questioned the neighbors, they said Ahmed and Mona always argued loudly, mostly because of jealousy and his family's interference. This gave the police a possible motive, but they still didn't have solid evidence. On January 2, 2019, investigations deepened. The police asked Ahmed about his day. He said, "We had breakfast together in the morning. Then I went to work at the health unit in Saka, then to the bank, then a fish restaurant, and I also called a carpenter for Mona's brother's place, but he declined." The police checked these steps. Indeed, Ahmed's signature was in the attendance log at the health unit. The bank had CCTV footage of his transaction. The restaurant confirmed he ordered food, and the carpenter confirmed Ahmed called him, but he declined. All evidence suggested Ahmed wasn't home at the time of the crime, but suddenly, on January 3, 2019, Dr. Isra, Ahmed's colleague at the health unit, came forward and said something that changed everything. She revealed that Ahmed had called her 3 times on December 30, 2018, asking her to sign the attendance sheet for him so the day wouldn't be deducted from his salary. She agreed and signed for him. This meant Ahmed had not gone to work. He was at home. The police summoned Ahmed on January 3, 2019, confronted him with Dr. Isra's testimony, and told him, "We suspect you. You were at home during the crime." After 16 hours of intense interrogation, Ahmed broke down and confessed to everything. He admitted that he had been planning the crime since August 2018. His motive was jealousy of Mona's success and suspicion of her infidelity after he saw a WhatsApp screenshot in June 2018, though investigations later proved his suspicion was completely delusional. He confessed that he tricked Mona with a sexual game, tied her with tape, strangled her with a rope, then slaughtered her with a knife. He killed Layla because she saw him, and decided to kill Abdullah and Omar because they couldn't live without their mother, and also so they wouldn't testify against me. The police asked him to reenact the crime inside the apartment. Then they took him to the location where he had buried the bag. They recovered it and found inside the knife, rope, gloves, blood-stained clothes, and the stolen gold. On January 4, 2019, the public prosecution ordered his detention for 4 days, and on January 21, 2019, referred him to urgent trial. The forensic report confirmed Mona had been strangled before being slaughtered, and that Ahmed was mentally and psychologically sound, fully aware of his actions. The case was referred to the Criminal Court of Kafr el-Sheikh, case number 502 of 2019, and the sessions began on February 1, 2019. Mona's family, especially her mother and brother, attended the hearings in a state of total collapse, demanding the death penalty. Ahmed confessed to all the details and said he regretted it, but at first he refused to hire a lawyer, so the court appointed one for him. The prosecutor presented strong evidence: the gloves, the rope, the knife, the forensic report, and Ahmed's own confession. He requested the death penalty on February 2, 2019, confirming that the crime was premeditated and driven by jealousy and imaginary doubts. Mona's family clashed with the defense lawyer when he tried to cast doubt on Mona's reputation, shouting, "These are lies. Our daughter is innocent." On February 3, 2019, the case was referred to the Grand Mufti, and on March 2, 2019, the court sentenced Ahmed to death by hanging unanimously under Articles 230, 231, and 234/2 of the Penal Code. The courtroom was packed with neighbors and relatives of the victims. Mona's mother broke down in hysterical tears while the crowd chanted, "Justice has prevailed." Ahmed appealed the sentence, but on November 13, 2021, the Court of Cassation upheld the final death sentence. To this day, the case has become a symbol of destructive jealousy. My friends, this story is a very harsh lesson. Ahmed was a doctor, a father, a husband, but jealousy and hatred stripped him of his humanity. Mona was a wonderful mother and a successful doctor. Her children, Abdullah, Omar, and Layla, were innocent and never deserved what happened to them. If you ever feel jealousy or doubt, talk to someone, seek help. Don't let this poison consume you. And with that, today's episode comes to an end. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any new stories. Stay tuned for the next episode. Goodbye.